welcome to another edition of Inside the Humidor. I'm Josh Eagle alongside Josh Mills, Ed Brandyberry, the normal cast of characters. It's after the holidays, guys.
Yeah.
And whatever, I know we left off last time with maybe some journal awards had come out for the best cigars of the year.
Right.
And but the Aficionado list, which is it's the big list.
Yeah, it is.
Everyone familiar with Cigar Aficionado. This particular one's got an animal house on the cover.
Anniversary
Relevant.
celebration, huh?
Completely relevant to today.
Yeah.
Also has high-end turntables for $6,500. If anyone's interested in getting one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
But what we're really interested is
Josh
the top 25
is
cigars.
going to hand those out for Christmas next year.
Yeah, sure. Each one gets a turntable. So every year there's a list of top 25 cigars from Cigar Aficionado. A lot of other magazines and publications come out with their list as well. Snob should be just releasing right about now.
Yep.
But Cigar Aficionado comes out right before Christmas. They drop their list of the cigars they smoke and they like the most over the year. You can say what you want about lists, but for the most part, the cigars that end up getting on this list are very good smokes. You can have an opinion one way or another.
Yeah.
And you're splitting hairs at this point. Yeah. The difference between a 92 and a 93, very subjective.
I think you know the process a little bit. You want to break down how they do their list? I think they round up what?
Well, they round up all the cigars that they've smoked up to, I think, beginning of November. And I think normally the cutoff is around a 92. They collect all the cigars that have had a 92 in either Aficionado or Insider, and then they put them together and re-smoke them.
Yeah, we're back with a zero, and supposedly there's no bias.
It sounds like they almost
Right.
do like a bracket style, cigars like cigar versus cigar, tournament style, all the way down to the end there, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like you said, when you're splitting hairs,
And they're
there's many
blind.
ways. Yeah.
So
Allegedly.
they're supposed to be blind.
Sizes are tough once you know what the cigar is. Once
Yeah.
Like this particular one, that came in at number 9. When
Right.
you have what you're smoking.
Yeah.
And you try to be as blind. I mean, you can't put blindfolds on everybody smoking a cigar. But the bottom cigar here, number 25, received a 91 rating. The top cigars received a 97, one of the all-time great ratings.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
like an instant classic type rating.
and 2 cigars on this
classic.
list, actually 3 cigars on this list got instant classic 95 and above. And we'll get down to there. We'll count down. We'll talk a little bit about this. Yes. So the 25th cigar of the year was the Undercrown Churchill, the original Undercrown line, the Maduro from Drew Estate. Guys, we've smoked that for years. It's a good selling cigar.
It's a standby.
It's a standby. It's a great smoking cigar. I like to see them hit this list. I know that Ligas have hit a list in the past. Is this the first? Is this the first for Undercrown on Aficionado?
No.
No, they've got it before.
I don't think so.
I think that Corona Viva hit before.
Maybe.
I want to say the
Corona
Corona
Viva
yeah.
got it on someone's list.
But if you're in that 3/4 fullish Nicaraguan range, and say what you want, some people. Drew Estate's a weirdly polarizing brand, I guess. Some people say they don't like them, and they have a lot of really die-hard fans too. But if you're smoking 3/4 full Nicaraguans, and this one for the price and everything probably should be in your rotation.
Oh, yeah. Undercrown? Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this particular one, the size of the one was a Churchill, which is a relatively large cigar.
Yeah, and the Churchill isn't, I don't know if they've added that on, because that's not actually in their lineup.
Is it called a Churchill?
They've got a Doble Corona.
Yeah, I got the Doble Corona out there.
But
man.
the Doble
It's awfully close to
Corona,
a Corona,
the
to a
Doble
Churchill.
Corona has different dimensions than this
7x48.
748. And they've added some Vitolas over this last year. So they may have added a true Churchill kind of.
That'll be interesting to grab
Yeah.
a hold of and get to smoke it. This year they also added another wrapper in the Undercrown. They went with the Sun-Grown. It's a very nice cigar.
Yeah,
a little
it
bit
is.
towards that medium. It's not 3/4 like the Undercrown is, and a full body on the Liga, but it's about a medium. And they also had a mild medium release last year in the Undercrown Shade.
Right.
They're also putting all those cigars in small tins, and you'll find them in water towers all across the country. 24 came in with the Tatuaje Cabinet Noelas. Tatuaje, Pete Johnson's been making good cigars with Don Pepin. I'm assuming
I
this
believe
is
that
a
has
Don.
a
Is this
Habano
I've
wrapper.
had that cigar. It's the regular brown label Tatuaje. I've had it not in that size. If you're favorite Tatawahe finish right there.
It's not its first appearance on this list. This particular Vitola was on the list before.
And this is Jose, Pepin Garcia cigar.
Right, right.
So that's the My Father factory, always producing some great stuff, and I think we might see him a couple more times on this list.
Yeah.
Next one came in with the La Flor de Dominicana, the LFD Double Ajero Lancero, which is a limited size,
Right.
but a very beautiful, dark, oily cigar. We've had them here in the past, and it's a really great cigar. I like to see Lancero make the list as well. It's not a traditional size, and it's starting to phase out through the industry.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
And
I love that cigar.
that Lancero, the review on it in one of the places says that you think the Double Ligero is already a powerful cigar.
smoke it in.
Wait till you have a
thin
bunch of
ring gauge.
Ligero in a 38 or 40 ring gauge. 42?
38. 7.5, 38.
Wow.
Well, I think,
38
yeah,
ring
I think
gauge.
all three of us are in agreement. That's uncontestedly the strongest cigar in the shop.
Oh, it's got to be.
And when you take it into a small ring gauge like that, it's just going to intensify.
Yeah,
so.
and that's what they said. They intensified. They found it that it also intensified the pepper.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
I'm going to have to try to get my
I think in any
Sounds
cigar,
like
when you reduce the ring size, some of the more outstanding notes are going
Right.
to be more prominent.
Right, right.
So that was a 23 cigar. 22 came in with the Hoya Black Nocturno. To me, that's an underrated cigar. I'm glad it hit a list.
I think
Yeah.
we did an episode like budget cigars or something like
Yeah.
that a while back. I think that
Right.
was on there. It's in that
Yeah.
$7 range. What's it say on there? Does it have the MSRP?
Yeah, like $6. You know,
Yeah.
and for that cigar in the Hoya factory, one of the oldest factory in Nicaragua. They're distributed by Drew Estate, and they kind of get lost a little bit in the shuffle. Hoya de Nicaragua does.
I told Padron I'd say that Hoya beat them by 2 weeks on their filing their papers with the Nicaraguan government, so that's why they're the oldest one in.
Has something to do with. Doesn't Yingling make that same claim?
Yeah.
Ultimately, who cares?
So
It's cool.
Another a friend of ours that we've hung around with in worldwide, Akil from Regis. He came in at 21 with an exclusive USA Press Perfecto. I'd really like to give that cigar a try.
If you know Akil, you can't help but be happy for him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just a
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fun guy to hang around with. He's pretty intense. He makes good cigars. They're really popular in Europe. They really haven't caught
Very,
too much in the U.S., but they're gaining
Takes
steam.
it very personally.
Oh, yeah, very personal.
So does Enrique.
Yeah, very personal, which is awesome though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a labor of love. And he came in, those first 4 cigars came in at a 91. This is the first that starts to 92. Now this is why you got to have a bracket, because the 92 they're all 92 rated. So how could it be 21 versus we go all the way up with 92s to 16?
They come in fresh slate. They reevaluate them, rescore them, and then give them they're in order.
But
from
his
bottom to
point-
top.
But my point is there's 7
point
92s. So who's 21?
I
and
wonder
who's
if the
16?
tiebreaker isn't a previous review.
It could be. So, like I said, we're splitting hairs with top 25. We're just splitting absolute hairs.
Yeah.
And in 20, the Macanudo Inspirado Orange. This was a release from 2 years ago now. Last year, I guess technically 2016 release.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought they did. I thought they nailed it. I really did. I thought
Well,
that cigar first.
we might have been ahead of the curve a little bit because when that cigar came out, we had a hell of a time selling it because the Macanudo name with trendy cigar smokers, younger cigar smokers and stuff, it doesn't necessarily care. Isn't perceived
Right.
in the right light. And when we dropped that one, we were in here telling customers, ignore the band. Don't think of it as your grandfather's Hyde Park. This is a different cigar. Flavorful medium body.
It really is. Definitely is not the cafe lineup at all. It's not even like the Grand Cru, which I really enjoy. Not the Cru Royale.
Grand Cru.
Cru, which I really enjoy. But I'm really happy for the guys at General. They got a new president a couple years back, young guy. They came out with Inspirado Black and White. So you have a whole lineup now. You have a full body, a 3/4 full, a mild, and a flavorful medium in a portfolio. So I'm glad they're doing and getting some good reviews with the Macanudo Inspirado lineup.
A lot of it is also the big companies, I think, are responding to the inroads that boutique companies have made into the market. and they've both, the two largest have shaken up their blending departments.
Yes.
You know, you had the formation of Grupos de Maestros at Altares. You've had the influx of new, shall we say, new blood, like
And every
Ricky
lineup.
Rodriguez and other people.
Yeah,
in-
Jack Tarano.
Yeah,
Jack
they made
Rodriguez,
great acquisitions
yeah.
there with Toronto
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Foundry.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And the Foundry guys are cranking out some great stuff.
Right.
And so that came into the 92. That's a Dominican cigar. I don't think there's any Nicaraguan in that. Am I wrong? In the Inspirado? I mean, it's
I
a
know the black
predominantly
and the white
Dominican.
have some interesting
Yeah.
blends. I'd have to
I
get
don't
back
know
in
if
there
it
and
does
check.
or not.
The reason I mentioned the country of origin on that one is because the first Cuban comes in at number 19, the Romeo and Juliet, the short Churchill from Cuba. If anyone's ever smoked a Romeo from Cuba, you always know what you're going to get with the Romeo. They're well constructed. You know, they got good flavor on them. This particular Cuban smokes mild to medium. That classic Cuban taste you really can't duplicate. Construction's always been my big thing in the Cuban cigars, and
Yeah.
I've never
Hit or
had,
miss.
yeah, I've never
It
had.
can be
a-
really great when you get one that works, and it can be a terrible experience when you get one that
That's
doesn't.
right.
And I've smoked this size multiple times. I usually like the smaller gauged, Cuban cigars. This particular one comes in at a 50, I believe. Yeah, 4 by 7/8, 4 and 7/8 by 50 ring gauge for a Cuban. That's a nice healthy ring gauge. They don't usually do too much
They
bigger
don't
than
do
that.
much bigger than that now. Except I think some of their torpedoes, their number 2s might be a 52.
So if you get down to Cuba or any surrounding island countries, if you know what you're looking for, you can know the markings on what not to buy.
Well, if it's a guy in a van
Probably not going
on
to
the
be Cuban.
beach with a glass top humidor steer clear, that's probably not going to be the real deal.
Probably not the real deal.
Good chance. That's oh, you all said you bought some out there?
At 18, EP Carrillo, he came in with the Dusk series, which
Yeah.
I've only got to smoke one of them.
Yeah,
and I didn't
think
sit
they're-
down and really
We've got
contemplate
EP
it.
Corral here in the shop, but they don't have the dusk as of yet.
Mhm.
This may swing the. Maybe we'll have to give it another look.
We're a
I
couple
remember
years
smoking
back.
a sample of it. I thought it was really excellent.
Yeah, and he hit with La Historia a few years back, real high on the board. Would he get number 2? Is that what he was?
Well, he was the unofficial number one because the number one, I believe,
No,
that
no,
year.
that was aging.
That was aging room. Yeah, never mind.
The aging room was 1, they were 2. And that cigar, I
Fume
knew.
d'Amour by Illusion was number 3. It was a great 1, 2, 3 class.
I agree, and I loved all those cigars. That was a great
Yeah.
year. I
That
mean,
was.
those were coming out left and right,
Yeah.
and they really nailed it. That
Yeah.
the EP, the original founder of Logoria Cubana, he did some fun things with General this year, and actually made Logoria Cubana, which is pretty funny, again,
Yeah.
and made one for General Cigars, which is pretty.
But
awesome.
you talked about the La Historia. Apparently, in the spring, he's got the sequel to the La Historia coming out, kind of a spiritual successor. So
Well,
the
that'll
only
be
reason
fun.
we probably don't have the dusk right now is because I've been trying to save shelf space for that. That sounds pretty exciting. We got some real La Historia
The
fans
dusk?
in the shop. No, the sequel to the La Historia is coming in the spring. So that's maybe the only reason I haven't given the dusk a look is because there's only so much shelf space on the shelves here at the smokestack. So
Coming in at number 17 was Christian Arroyo cigar, a CLE.
This is a
Fraito.
This is a yeah. The Burrito is a box press line of his.
No,
can't say I've had that one.
no, neither can I. I'm very interested. It's
Yeah.
a Nicaraguan
Yeah,
box press 550.
yeah.
So you're going to get Connecticut broadleaf on the wrapper, Nicaraguan in the filler, single leaf of Honduran. Now, Christian's hit these a few times with the CLE
Yeah,
lineup.
he has. Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah,
probably most,
Aroa last
Either the
year.
Arroya
Yep.
or CLE.
and he's probably most well known for the Asylum lineup, but yet his Arroyas and CLEs seem to be
Really awesome, like kind of classic cigars where the Asylum
They
has
don't
a very
make the inroads
specific
the Asylum
niche.
makes.
Yeah.
not yet right.
No, they don't. The Asylum is the favorite of the large gauge cigar smoker.
Yeah,
So it's
budget
awesome.
friendly, large ring gauge, full body, and there's a very specific cigar smoker that's going to gravitate to that, and they've got those guys locked up. I mean, we've seen it in here.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
got these small 550 box press. Now, a 50 to get to a box press on a 50. I mean, what are you starting at? A 42 gauge essentially.
48.
48 to get to 50. 48, 46 to get to a 50 gauge. So these small cigars, where he's best known for these giant cigars.
Right.
You know, these small cigars, he's just knocking them out of the park left
Yeah,
and
he
right.
is.
You know, it
They
comes in
are
at
quite
$7.25.
flavorful, interesting cigars. I haven't had this particular one.
Yeah, in lieu of anything interesting to say about that, they just had the Abdullah Oblongata or whatever
Right.
come out.
And that's a
We
two.
all smoked that. That was another box press Nicaraguan, and that was tasty. So
It's actually boxed with a traditional round cigar, right?
Right. The medulla is the round, I think, and the oblongata is the box press.
something interesting like that.
Yeah,
but
and
smoked
it comes
really,
in one
really
box.
For all you Waterboy fans out there.
yeah.
Medulla Oblongata.
Yeah, that's right.
At 16, the Rocky Patel Vintage 2003 Cameron in Churchill. Now, that cigar's been on the market a long time. That's one of my favorite Rocky Patels.
That's one of my go-tos. If you're one of those guys out there saying you don't like Rocky Patel, you don't like Rocky Patel, all cigars taste the same, that's usually one of the ones I ask. Have you smoked that cigar yet? If your answer is no, then get out there and give it a go. It might
Yeah.
make you rethink the Rocky Patel portfolio just because it's definitely different than his other
It
offerings, and it's tasty.
You know, and Rocky's got a lot of cigars out there, and they actually got number 2 last year with the Sun-Grown Maduro. So his, you know, this cigar wasn't, that cigar was a newer release that got number 2. This cigar is an older.
It's been around.
Backing
for a little
up
bit.
just a minute, I was looking at the Inspirato. I didn't get the full blend, but it's interesting that the Inspirato lines are made in their Honduran factory, same one that kicks out their punches.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
So that's a little interesting twist from
Yeah.
on that.
yeah.
So the next cigar that comes in at number 15, and we start to get to the 93 rated cigars, is the Romeo by RYJ Aging Room, which is a small batch F25 Cantor. Now we've had that cigar here. That was it was a limited run.
There must
I
have been
guess.
some kind of miscommunication going on because we were under the impression it was limited run, and then it was still on the price sheet and still on the price sheet, and now it hits this, and so they've either done multiple runs or
This is
I
just
don't know what happened.
speculation out there for you folks that might actually see this that are in the industry. But my thought is that once the guy with aging,
Rafael Nadal.
once Raphael went to work for them,
Yeah.
I think all limited things on both sides, both companies,
Yeah. That makes
all of a
sense.
sudden got a big influx of tobacco.
Yeah. So Rafael Nadal, that was a collaborative project with Romeo and Julieta
Right.
and the group of the Maestro boys. Before he started really working with those guys, that was kind of their first project together. And then, not too long afterwards, he partnered up. Now he works for the company. His company wasn't bought out, but it's
No.
distributed by Altadas.
Right.
So
And the access to tobaccos, and actually Raphael is running some of their factories.
he's a production
Yes.
head or something.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like a head
yeah.
of production. So he didn't
Yeah.
just get hired on to make his
No.
own cigars with Aging Room. He also got hired on to oversee some
They
other
were
cigars
impressed
from
enough
Altadas.
with him that they made
Well, he
a
has
deal.
the number 1 cigar.
They made a
Making them-
deal.
Yeah. Now, to go back, this Romeo and Juliet is the Dominican company, Romeo and Juliet. This isn't the Cuban.
Correct.
This is
Yeah.
a Dominican company that Altadas, you know, they have the Romeo, the Monte Cristo, the A. Chapman.
Right.
This collab hit at 15, and that was a great cigar. One concern with the cigar has always been price point.
Yes.
Romeo's kind of known to be under $10 cigar, and these come in at 12 plus in any size that you buy.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad cigar for the price point at all. I
No.
think it's worth that much. But if you're a typical Romeo and Julieta smoker, you might have
You're
a little bit of
not
sticker
gonna
shock
go
coming
over
up.
$10.
Yeah, it's a little tricky there. Not what the Romeo guys are used to.
Right,
And that's just our retailer criticism of the approach.
right.
When you have other brands like Monte Cristo that could support that price point,
Exactly.
then
Yeah, maybe aging over Monte Cristo would have made more sense. Same exact cigar with the Monte Cristo banner. But neither here nor there.
our friend Eric got the next one.
That's right, bro. I got number 14, bro.
Yeah, bro.
The 601
Sorry,
red,
Eric.
red label Habano Torpedo
Everyone
came in at number 14. Eric is a great dude. couldn't be happier, like we talked about Akio. I couldn't be happier that Eric got in the top 15.
Yeah.
The 601 series, the Blue Label is my favorite.
AJ makes these now.
And now, yeah, he's teamed up with AJ to get some more. Again, these smaller, good, great blenders, they've been teaming up, not to just team up with anybody, but they're teaming up for tobacco access.
Yes, I think you're right.
You know, one of the largest tobacco growers in Nicaragua, AJ Fernandez, you know, and Altadis in the Dominican Republic, your access goes so high.
Yeah. You got a lot more toys to play with,
Yeah,
a lot more, you know, you don't have to worry about.
And
Exactly.
once again,
so
it was
much.
Indonesian. It was Indonesian tobacco wrapped on that F55 Concerto that Aging Room used that made it necessary to go to the F59 with a Habano wrapper.
Yeah, they were going to
because he was
discontinue that
out
at 55.
of the Indonesian Sumatra.
Now we
Well,
partners with
guess who's
Altadis.
got wrapped almost all their Romeos in Indonesian Sumatra? I mean, not all.
But it's a marriage.
Yeah.
They've
yeah.
got a lot more than Raphael did, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
They got a couple more.
Yeah.
Couple more leaves. Coming in at 13 is this archetype, the Axis Mundi Toro. Now, archetype is a Credit Importers Phillips and King
Yep.
cigar. They also made
Ventura.
Psycho.
The Psycho 7, yeah.
Ventura Cigar Company.
Yeah, we were very intimately familiar with the Psycho 7. We had that one in here for a long time.
Yeah.
The archetype came out. I thought the branding was intriguing and stuff, and we never pulled the trigger on it here in the shop. But
Again, the reason what that happened, the Toro comes in at $12. Now, this is a brand that no one's ever heard of before. And in Pennsylvania, where there's no cigar tax, and we're going to try to keep it that way with the Pennsylvania Premium Cigar Retail Association.
That's right.
This cigar is priced in a price point that is just a tad above the mark. And I've smoked this. It's a good cigar.
Yeah.
Sales and cigar is two different things now. Selling the cigar and having the cigar be good, two different things.
Yeah, once it passes $9.99, there's a new threshold.
There's a new threshold. And we've found that it's almost better to be above 15 at that point.
Right.
The 11 now is your top.
yeah, 11
Used
to
to be
15
10.
is tricky.
But 11 above, 11 to 15 is a tricky price
Because you're
point.
bringing on comparisons to your line that you might not want to be compared against. You know, I haven't smoked this archetype before, but when you get in there around $12, you're going to have someone buy it, smoke it, say it was pretty good, but for $2 more, I could have had a Liga. For $2 or $3 more, I could have had an Opus.
For a buck
$2
more, I could have had
buck more, I could have had a Padron.
Right.
Tatuaje Kohonu.
Yeah, the one in
Exactly.
2012. So you're just in a real dicey price point with some real heavy hitters.
And this particular one, I'm just going to bring this up real quick, is an interesting blend because they have a Sumatra binder on an Ecuadorian wrapper with Nicaraguan fillers. So it's kind of an interesting blend.
It's a great thing we've been seeing for about, maybe 10 years of blending in the industry.
Especially in the last couple, though.
Yeah. Especially last 5, I'd say. A lot more what would have been considered experimental before.
Yeah.
Combinations of tobacco from countries that, both General Cigar and Altadis will use Colombian or Panamanian tobacco in there, which they
Yeah.
probably buy it all.
And then the last couple of years, for a minute, it was Pennsylvania broadleaf and this
Right.
Indonesian tobacco getting used
Mexican
in different
San
ways.
Andrean.
Mexican San Andrean, but
Yeah.
not just used on the wrappers.
Right.
You're seeing Mexican San
Now-
Andrean tobacco pop in binders and even filler in some
Right.
cases. And
Right.
in the last couple of years, it was kind of the Fred Ruiz, the James Browns of the world
They were experimenting
playing with
on
that,
it
and
more,
now
yeah.
you're seeing the big boys step up and doing similar
That's
kind
right.
of projects.
Yeah, but they're
it's
also
really
getting
cool.
these, like Espinosa with Fernandez, then you with the Access, then you also have
Right.
Raphael with Altadis, so Access.
We got Rocky
Right.
Vitale now with the Pennsylvania broadleaf, I think, on the binder of that Hamlet 25,
Yep.
something like that, which is
Right.
And he,
um,
the great part
wild
about
for such a large
Hamlet,
company.
not to jump off subject, but with why Hamlet is so much fun and to smoke his cigars is because he worked for Cuban tobacco for 22 years. So he only blended Cuban tobacco, and when Rocky gave him the opportunity to make a cigar without Cuban tobacco in it, he didn't even know what the names of it was.
Right.
He had no idea. So he was smoking it without even knowing what it was or where it was from, He was just making a cigar.
Yeah, when he faced Corojo before, he faced Cuban Corojo.
Exactly.
That was it. Corojo 99.
What was it? He
knew-
liked Matafina for the Hamlet.
Yep.
Matafina. All he had on the box of the tobacco was Matafina. Makes a cigar. The press release comes out and it says Brazilian on there, and I think he gets all fired
He
up.
does.
Because he says, "Why did you change my blend? Why did you advertise it as this?" And
And
Rocky
they go,
just says, "Do you know
"Rock
where Matafina
Matafina
tobacco is
is-
from? It's Brazilian Matafina." And he's
Yeah.
just like, "Oh."
Yeah, he didn't even know what he made it out of. Hamlet's a great guy if you ever get a chance to meet him.
Oh.
So to round out the top 10, or round out the bottom 25, we're on cigar number 12 with the New World, the Puro Special Toro. This one came out
Another good New World.
this year. The New World lineup was more of a value cigar. It got like every value cigar. It actually got #1
It
in
was
Journal.
Like, yeah, it was like
Yeah,
budget
number
buy,
one in Journal.
budget buy of the year, of the last 3 years.
Then it was #1 cigar in
Yeah.
Journal.
Yeah.
And that's a box pressed, under $7 for most of the sizes.
Yeah.
A fantastic daily driver. Now, Puro Special is not box pressed. It's
No.
a standard, barrel, Parejo, round cigar. What is the Toros? That's a 6.5, 52.
As the Connecticut was.
Just like the Connecticut. And it comes in at a $9 price point. It's still in a great price point. And very happy for AJ, friend of ours, man. Couldn't be happier that he got in the top 15 with this cigar, because this cigar is well worth the try. For any AJ fans out there, it's a must-have.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
the New World to me was like a woodsier, drier, spicier type flavor profile, the Puro Special is that much more rich.
Yes.
Think like Oliva Serie V, maybe? Along those kind
Yeah,
of lines.
along
and
those
the,
lines.
And the
Yeah.
richness and darker profile, not that
Is that a
Nicaraguan-
sneak peek?
Maybe some foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. And the number 11 is the second Cuban on the list here. This is the Partagas. I don't even know what is that.
Spanish word,
Spanish word.
potentially.
Potentially Spanish
I don't know
word.
what that means.
Could mean anything. This cigar comes in at $30 and
Lusitania.
$30. What do they call cents in euros?
I don't know.
Does anybody know? Off camera, do we know what cents are in euros? Is it just 30.9 euro? Well, that's a lot of money.
Give it to me in freedom dollars.
Yeah,
I don't
freedom
even know what
dollars.
this,
They euroed me.
This crap is.
So $30.90 European, which is probably with the current exchange rate about $36, $35
Yeah.
American for this cigar. What I love about the Cuban Churchill is that this one came in at a 49 gauge. It's over 7.5 inches with a 49
I
ring.
love a good like 48, 49 Churchill. I really,
Yeah,
And
I do
Partagas,
Really
just like the
butters my
Romeo,
biscuits,
if you
yeah.
know what you're looking for, the Partagas Corona is up there in my top 5 cigars that
You
I
know,
love
I
all
think
time.
a lot of Nick and everything, but that's one thing I wish he made a few more of is 50, 52 gauge
Agreed.
Churchills.
Yes. Let's get
Yeah.
the gauges down.
Yeah.
Cubans
on a Churchill. I don't care about the others, but the
See,
Churchill.
and the Cubans, man, they're still doing it. They still have the traditional sizes. And anytime that anyone does one of those, they're basically copying the Cubans. But, we have a...
we're all copying the Cubans.
We're all
well, we didn't
copying
make
the
it
Cubans.
to 10, did we?
We got through the bottom 15, I think.
Yeah,
That's
we
good.
did.
Close.
We did. And I
They'll
think...
have to watch us another time to get the top 10.
I think we'll do the top 10. We'll do the top 10, so you got to stay tuned for the
Yep.
top 10.
Yep.
But there's some great cigars in the top 10 this
There are.
year.
There are.
Some real interesting selections from companies that really haven't been on the radar, I think, of most people in traditional cigar smoking minds. So
Until you get to the top 5.
until you get to
I
the
think
top
it's
5.
predictable.
Top
and,
5, you know.
The top 3, perhaps dubious.
Oh, only by order.
We'll have to tune in next time to find out, I guess, what our opinion is on that.
For Josh Mills and Ed Brandyberry, I'm Josh Eagle. Get out there and burn one.